All right, let's talk about characterization and what draws readers into a story. Vivid, complex characters whose problems and triumphs draw forth our emotions and reveal some truth about mankind are the kind of characters that draw us into a story. We've talked about four different types of characters. First, the flat character. You can think of them like a piece of cardboard. They only have one or two character traits that can be described in a few words. They have no depth whatsoever. They're flat. Like Mailman Mike over there in our room is a flat character. Sorry, Mike, didn't mean it. Of course, we have round characters. They have many different character traits that sometimes they will contradict one another. So there's much more to them. They have many characters, different personalities, sides of their personality. Um, they often have some kind of conflict going on within them because they want several different things and they um, often are conflicted about how to get them and what part of their personality should be used. Then we have dynamic characters. And dynamic characters um, are characters that change. Now, a character that is round doesn't necessarily have to be a character that changes or grows. Um, but they usually learn something about themselves or other people or the world as they struggle to resolve their conflicts. And we see characters, many main characters and protagonists in stories are dynamic. Because if they're not dynamic, then we really don't care much about them. The changes that a dynamic character undergoes contribute to the meaning of the story, to that theme. We see theme developed through that character's journey. And then, of course, you have static characters, and they don't grow and they don't change. Now, static characters can be round, they can be very full, um, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to change. They are the same at the end of the story as that they are in the beginning. Often, subordinate characters are often static, secondary characters, but not necessarily. You can look at Zaroff as a classic example of a one of the main characters, the antagonist in a story that doesn't grow, and he is very static. Now we can talk about conflict, and we of course have external conflict, which is a struggle between a character and outside force, such as another character, such as society, or nature. And those are the three main that we see: another person, society as a whole, or nature. But we also have internal conflict. A person struggles between opposing needs or desires or emotions that he or she has. And it could be the character versus himself or the character versus herself. We think of that, those internal struggles that we have every day. Should I do this? Should I do that? I really want this, but I don't want that. And so we struggle with that. Um, let's check this. Y'all get some stones, commanded Joey now, and was met with instant giggling obedience as everyone except me began to gather pebbles from the dusty ground. Come on, Lizbeth. I just stood there peering through the bushes, torn between wanting to join the fun and feeling that it was a bit silly. Now, what type of character or conflict does this character face? Well, let's see. It would be bingo. Oh, come on, give me an answer. Internal conflict. She has to decide whether to join in or not, and we have the underlined portion tells us this. We also have, of course, direct characterization that we've talked about. Direct characterization, the author or narrator makes direct statements. The author tells about the character's personality to our face. It's about telling. The patient boy and the quiet girl are both well mannered and did not disobey their mother. The author's telling us exactly patient and quiet. There aren't any questions. We don't have to figure anything out. We're told. Then we have indirect characterization, which is far more interesting and far more challenging to the reader. It's also more dangerous if you don't do a good job as the writer. The author reveals a character's traits through his or her actions, speech of others, the action of others. It's about showing. When Jane walked in the room, nobody could help but look at her stunning, gorgeous face. She commanded attention whenever she went due to her good looks. Jane is beautiful. We can infer that. She has good looks. You might even say that this example itself is somewhat direct, but it's not nearly as direct as the first one. Jim was very unlike any other businessman. He made sure that all his clients got what they had paid for. This is an example of very indirect. What can we infer about Jim that he's honest and hardworking because he makes sure that they get what they've paid for. So he's working hard and he's giving them what they've paid for. He's an honest guy. Doesn't say that directly, but we can infer it. So examples, direct or indirect characterization. That Ed Johnson, said Anderson, watching the old mechanic scratch his head in confusion as the sales rep explained Drolco's new engine performance diagnostic computer. He hasn't got a clue about modern electronics. Give him a good set of tools and a stack of yellowing manuals with a carburetor needing repair, and he'd be happy as a hungry frog in a fly field. So, is that direct or indirect? That's indirect. What do we know about him? Well, we can tell that he's old school, and that he struggles in this modern world. Direct or indirect? Julie owned a multitude of outfits and accessories, and it always took her forever to decide which combination might impress Trent. As usual, she called her sister several times for advice. After doing so, Julie decided to give the navy blue skirt with white sweater a try. This would be an example of direct. It always took her forever to decide which combination might impress Trent, and it directly tells us about her situation. Direct or indirect? Julie held up 6 different outfits in front of the mirror and pondered which should go best with her navy blue shoes, pastel eyeshadow, and diamond earrings that she'd already procured, ooh, I love that word, from her overflowing vanity. After 90 minutes of mixing and matching, wow, and cell phoning her sister 3 times for advice, Julie made up her mind. She'd give the navy blue skirt and white sweater a try, hoping Trent would love it. Very indirect. The first one says she wants to impress Trent. The second one implies it, but not nearly as directly. It shows us more. We have to figure that out more. So hopefully you get a sense of that difference between direct or indirect characterization. And of course, that is the end.